Today is Wednesday, February 17th, 2010, and my first day of making a whole batch of homemade biodiesel. I'm going to talk you through the process and show you a little bit about what I've been doing today. So to start, this all comes from, or it's all made out of vegetable oil. This vegetable oil, these containers came from Teriyaki First in Snohomish. I highly recommend their teriyaki. And the reaction that takes place to make biodiesel is actually pretty simple. It's just vegetable oil with something called sodium hydroxide, also known as lye. Put those together and you have, the products are biodiesel and a byproduct called glycerin. This amount of lye is just about enough. I need about a container and a half to react with all of these containers of vegetable oil and make biodiesel. So that's the reaction. But it turns out that you can't just dump this lye in with the vegetable oil, it won't mix. So the one last part of the process is you first need to mix the lye with something that will mix with vegetable oil. This is methanol, which you buy from a racing car store. So methanol plus lye plus vegetable oil, and the byproducts are biodiesel and glycerin. So I'm going to walk you over to the actual station where we're doing this. You can see there's 3 containers here, 2 containers I guess, and 1 water heater. To start off, this is our storage tank with the filter screen on top. So we dump those containers of vegetable oil through the screen. This is mostly to catch big chunks of stuff like teriyaki chicken and other teriyaki things. We started out today with about 30 gallons of vegetable oil to start. That vegetable oil gets pumped out here through this tube, following along that line, through the pump, which pumps it up and around and into the water heater, which is where the chemical reaction is going to take place. Also, reacting with this vegetable oil, this is a mixture of lye and methanol. It's called methoxide, and that gets pumped through this hose, follow it around, and you can see these pipes follow also around through the pump and into the water heater. The reason that there's a water heater for the reaction is the reaction takes place at about 120 degrees Fahrenheit. So you pump both things in there, use the pump to swirl them around, and wait till it gets hot enough for the reaction to take place. Once we're done with that, we will have a product. I'm going to step you over to my workbench here. Product that looks like what you see in this 2-liter bottle. In the very top is biodiesel. I could actually stick that stuff into my truck right now, it would run just fine. And glycerol. Actually, it's a mixture of glycerol and methanol, which is something I'll have to take care of at the end. This, by the way, is my workstation. You have to do what's called a titration. At first, it sounds complicated, but it's just a way of figuring out making sure you have the right amount of each thing that you mix together. So you try it on a small scale. You make some calculations, which you can see on the paper. This is the data I collected. And that's how I figured out exactly how much lye and methanol I needed to mix with the amount of vegetable oil I have. The last thing I'm going to talk you through, and this process isn't starting yet, but once the reaction is complete in the water heater, it'll be pumped out of the water heater. I don't have the hoses going into here yet. Into this tank, and this is where it gets cleaned. And cleaning is at least a 2-day process. I hope to start that later on in the week. Anyway, thanks for watching, and let's hope this works.